Hello, everybody. I am Jenny. Nice to be with all of you. I wasn't able to be on last week. I had a cold, and then my voice was just really croaky, and I had another kind of virus right in the middle of my face that would have distracted from the message. And so I decided just to wait until today. How's everybody doing with the Pisces energy? So we've got two personal planets, the ruler of Pisces, both rulers of Pisces together still because they're still in that conjunction, just moving apart. Um, and getting ready for Pluto to station. Mercury is moving into shadow, and we have the eclipses. So, yeah, we have a lot going on in the astrology. Eclipse season is also graced by a Mercury retrograde. So, promises to be a big one. So the nodes moved into. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I need to mention this first. So a lot of you have alerted me. Even a friend of mine told me last week she was unsubscribed from my channel. Just so you know, the reason that YouTubers mention a lot, like to check that you're subscribed, is because like you'll go on the page where we answer comments and you'll see like one person unsubscribed. And then you'll go a few hours later to check comments and 40 people. It'll say like 41. They just unsubscribe people. That happens to everybody. But yeah, a lot of you have said like, "Oh, it's so good to see you back." I've been here, and gone back and watched old videos that you weren't shown. I appreciate you saying it in the comments because then I can send that on to them. I don't know if they're not, they don't respond, so I don't know if they look at that at all. I had said that we would talk about Pluto, but we're going to talk about the eclipse. Pluto, of course, is part of that because when a planet stations, they become very strong. Like we all feel that planet, especially Pluto, in the sky, the strongest. And of course, he's ruling the South Node as the ruler, the modern ruler of Scorpio. Pluto and Mars are ruling the South Node right now. But I was going to say, because some of you had said that you would wish that you knew, I was offering this course that I'm teaching right now, Metatron, the Expression of God. If you want to email me, so if you look in the description box or where it says show more, you can find my website to book a session. And then you can also find my email address if you want to email me, and you can still join. It's not too late to join. I think I sent out a newsletter about it. And of course, if you're, on a mailing list, if you have like a mailing list and you're using a service, a lot of times those go to spam. So not just for me, but for other people. Check your spam folders once in a while in case you're missing out on opportunities from myself and other people. I'm going to be I did about a year ago, a little over a year ago, I did an astrology symposium with like 30 other astrologers with Suzanne Gerber, and that's coming up at the beginning of June. So I'll be sending out a newsletter about that coming up, and I'll talk to you more about it as we get closer. It's free, but you need to register for it. And I believe, the last time I spoke with her, there were 21 astrologers involved. I think in addition, I'm like the 22nd, but I'm not sure. So I'll have more information as it becomes closer. She's doing it during Mercury retrograde. So yeah, I'll have that out to you guys, but it's free. You just need to register for it. And then I have new offerings on my website. If you want to look where it says to work with me, that's my website there. And, one of you mentioned, I should have opened the door in here before I started recording. It's warm under the light. One of you had mentioned in the comments, like, could you talk some more about timelines? And I have talked about them. I'm really, doing that kind of stuff in this course, the Metatron course, which is like cumulative, like we're starting where he wants us to start, and then we'll work into those things, utilizing our gifts, and that sort of thing. If you are interested in doing that, and instead of having somebody outside of you do it, then it's a great course to take. And I've had a lot of great feedback, but not appealing to people who want it done for them. This is an interactive course, and what you put in is what you're going to get back, but like tenfold, magnified is the way that Metatron is saying it. And I've heard that from people who are in it. So yeah, I wanted to talk about why I don't share those things. So all of you who have had an initial session with me know that at the end of the initial session, we do what's called the wing exercise. Okay. So I had reached out to someone on YouTube who it was foolish of me. They'd had this ongoing martyrdom scenario with a person in their life that they talk about a lot. And so I thought, let me reach out and offer to help them. And so I did. And I did, a lot of you guys know that do work with me, that a lot of times when we go back and we look at a timeline, once we're in that timeline, it'll bring up something else in the subconscious for healing. And we move from that timeline into the next timeline. Sometimes we'll go to 5 or 6 timelines. Sometimes we just stay in one. Depends on, where we need to go. So I guess that I was about the second timeline with the person, and we were getting close to solving the problem. And they're just so controlling that they like took over. And said to me, "Oh, Metatron is here now." And I just looked at Metatron like, okay. And he just kind of smiled at me like, just go with it because they don't want to solve the issue. But at the end of the session, I did what I do in first sessions, which was the wing exercise. I have the recording of the person when I said to them, like, we're going to do this and allow the wings to expand from the shoulder blades. They literally said, like, mocked me, like how silly and ridiculous. And now they're sharing it on YouTube as if it was just came to them. So I have that recording from years ago. That's why I don't talk about that kind of stuff. And I have talked about timelines. It's never what you read in those sensationalized posts. When it's like, oh, this portal is happening and oh, it doesn't really work like that. Every time that we go through an eclipse, it's a gateway. Every time that we're in eclipse season, the choices that we've made individually and, depending on what's happening in our chart is going to determine what timeline we're moving into. That's just, like for the worldwide, what's happening on the earth. Yes, there is a change. That's why I use the universal charts in my readings. But the ones that build them up, like I just saw one about, the sun is with these stars and the sun was with those stars 12 months ago, right? Don't buy into all of that. It's so silly. People send me posts. Like one of them was like, don't do anything in the next 10 days. Ridiculous. I mean, what are you going to do? Lay in bed, not move? So yeah, that's just all part of the drama, sensational stuff. Pisces with all the planets there, it can be like very dramatic and, oh, what will become of us? It's not true. But every time that we go through eclipse season, timelines shift and move. And then what's happening in your chart individually depends on, your own specific timelines. But timelines are determined by choices. And, Metatron is saying that the choices determine when they intersect and come together, which way you're moving in this physical time. A lot of times we'll see ourselves with a partner in the way somewhere out there kind of scenario. And then you'll say like, oh, I don't really think I want that partnership, or I don't want to choose that. And then the timeline, the opportunity will just go by. But you can't really miss an opportunity. If their opportunities come up and we don't act on them, then a better opportunity will come at a better time. And divine timing, of course, is different for each person. But I don't share a lot of that stuff because this person doesn't just steal my teachings. I want to be clear about that. They steal from other people too. They're just untrustworthy. And it's incredible to me, like the difference in the person that I found who was, maybe not 100% clear with a lot of the teachings. They still were a lot of religious based beliefs, but they do say over and over again, oh, or trust and truth. Truth is like a different for, there is a higher truth. There is the highest truth. And that person's truth is the truth. That's why they take over during healing sessions and they use other people's materials on their videos. So I'm still thinking about maybe publishing that 90 seconds because nothing else was really said during that time, just to show like what a phony and thief they are. And then, one of you had said, well, that limits like what you're doing in your work. It doesn't. It's just that I choose to use a safer platform than one that they're privy to because I know that they're not trustworthy and they will steal other people's and my teachings. So that's really what's happening in the astrology now. As the South Node moves through Scorpio and Pluto is at the end of Capricorn, people will be caught out. And that's just the way it is, So be so careful to be in integrity right now. Because if we're not in integrity somewhere, or, if we need to say something to someone that is probably unkind or untrue, it's going to come out. I've been saying for a while now that we're in this kind of phase where truth comes to light, but really amplified during this eclipse season with Mercury, like just before, as Pluto stations, actually, Mercury is forming a harmonious trine. So Mercury will be at the very end of Taurus in that harmonious connection with Pluto at the end of Capricorn. Things are going to come to light. And because of this happening in Taurus, this first eclipse, this new moon eclipse is happening at 10 degrees and change. So between 10 and 11 of Taurus. And right next to Uranus, the awakener, like that shakes us up and says, pay attention. It could be like because Taurus relates to the Hierophant, like something long time established truth or value, something that we've held on to. And he said that was disguised. Metatron is saying something that was disguised as truth may shift into, he's saying, a whole new reality where it's like, wow, light dawns in the darkness. And so if there are people out there who are out of integrity, taking advantage of you, just know that they're going to be called out. That is their deal. Like, that's why I haven't published, because I just don't want that stuff in my space. I wake up with it sometimes from them, just so that I'm aware that it's going on. But, really just don't engage and let their soul and the creator bring the reconciliation and the rectification. Because why engage with those people? But, I was talking to somebody else who, one of you who is psychic and does energy healing work and had come up with the modality, and a person with a larger audience stole all of their material and shared it as their own, even used the same name. Let's pay attention to what people are saying. They tell you in different ways. He's saying subtle clues, hints, reading between the lines. That's really what you want to keep in your mind over these next 6 or so weeks as we're going through this. And it could be stuff that came up from when Pluto was moving forward in January and then moving through. I think that's when I found out, it was January, that Metatron brought it to my attention that the person was lying about me. But, they're consistent. I can say that. But anyway, so also in this vibration, so let's talk about the time. Everybody in the world has this new moon eclipse happening on the 30th of May, and it's happening at 12:30 in the afternoon in London, 9:30 in Sydney, 9:30 p.m., 6:30 a.m. for Central Standard Time. So this is the, happening in Taurus. This is why I have this is the closest I could get to. I could have put a lot more things on the table but didn't fit. I don't know if you can tell that that's a mushroom. But it's the Sabian symbol. So Venus, of course, is ruling this new moon energy. She is exalted in Taurus, where she is right now, and she's with Jupiter, who expands everything. I mean, this is a fantastic new moon. He's saying fantastic opportunity. The Sabian symbol for the degree where Jupiter and Venus are together for the new moon is a fertile garden under a full moon. And because Uranus is involved and other aspects that are being made to this energy in Taurus, it's like planting seeds, as many seeds as you can, different places. So looking at, like what is paying off for you right now? Where is your focus and your energy going that you're gaining momentum? Because this is when things that are not going to pay off for us, doors will close, things will end. It'll become, he's saying, glaringly obvious. When there is a new moon solar eclipse, that's when the moon passes between the earth and the sun. So the sun is only like 54% obscured. And it's on where the eclipse is going to take place. It's like the tip of South America, the Pacific and Atlantic Ocean down in that region, and Antarctica. And we've had Antarctica in the news. I think I posted it on the group page on Facebook. I'm not sure, but they've had like the warmest, I think, ever that recorded in Antarctica recently. And Taurus is also the sign of the earth, the physical earth, Mother Gaia. So I expect, of course, more things to be taking place with that, as we all know. We're not really going to end fire season, apparently. That's going to continue to go. Remember that when Pluto and Saturn came together at the end of Capricorn series, who rules seasons, and I link her with climate as well, because she's the one that said, okay, I'm only going to bring the harvest once a year. And then instead of having harvest season throughout the year, we just started doing it once a year, right? So that mythology plays into the changes in climate. Mercury is going to be at his degree of shadow just as the eclipse takes place, with a Pluto station. They're in a harmonious trine talking to each other. So things will be coming to light. It's a blessing, I think, that Mars is in Pisces right now. Because when Mars is in Pisces, we can be, and everybody really, is less reactionary. People don't tend to fly off the handle. He's there through July. And he's the spiritual warrior when he's in Pisces. And everybody's been talking about feeling exhausted, right? And that's because of all of the Piscean energy that we have going on. Mars in Pisces contemplates, he takes in, like, okay, well, let's look at if I do this, how will that play out? And he's careful. We're always careful with our words, right? When Mercury is trine Pluto and going into retrograde season. So Mercury doesn't actually move retrograde until 10th, 11th of May, depending on where you are. And that will take place at 5 Gemini. So look at your chart, see what you have at the 5th degree of signs, or around the 5th degree of signs. He moves direct again the 2nd and 3rd of June. And then he moves out of, then as he finishes, because he's going to be at 26 Taurus. He still has to make it all the way through the sign of Gemini, his sign, his rulership. So expect just things to keep coming forward, right? And just being careful not to react off the cuff, because most likely there's more information that will come forward, and this can also be, um, he's saying shifting and changing news. So, like maybe you get a little bit of information and you think, oh, this is what's going on, but then more information comes in. So he's saying it's a good idea to bide your time, however that fits in your life. And you want to be thinking, so the nodes moved in to Scorpio and Taurus in January, and they'll be in Scorpio and Taurus until July of 2023. And that's where our focus is right now. Where can I invest in myself? What opportunities would I like to engage in? He's saying. What is abundant in my life? Where is the abundance? Of course, being grateful for the abundance that we do have. Doesn't mean you need to settle for just what you have, but always being like he's saying, recognizing and like saying to the universe, thank you for this, because wherever our focus goes, that's going to draw more of it to us. This is honestly a fantastic energy. The fact that Venus and Jupiter are the benefit, like I forget how they say it, but they're the most beneficial planets that we have. And the fact that they're together as Venus is ruling this in her exaltation, Jupiter in his own sign of Pisces, Neptune very close by them. The only thing that could like catch us out is if you notice Uranus. Can you guys see? I forgot the camera's different. Uranus is the guy who is next to the sun and the moon. And then you notice the north node is on what's called the descendant. The descendant is what we usually don't see. So it could be something that takes us by surprise, because Uranus is surprise anyway. So there could be something that's a big surprise. But also because the south node is in Scorpio, and Metatron talked about this in the last video, we could be reaping the benefits and rewards and having opportunities come in because we planted seeds a while ago. But this could send us on a whole new path. It's interesting that Uranus in the middle of Taurus is in a harmonious trine to Heimdall, who is sitting on the MC, the pinnacle of the chart. And Heimdall is the guard between heaven and earth, the Metatron vibration, or the confluence of the highest aspect of our consciousness that really calls the shots, right? And that's the vibration of Uranus too. Oh, you don't want to change? You don't want to change? Too bad. You know what I mean? So just keep in mind with Uranus and Pluto in play, and it might have already started for you. It could just be something that comes a little further down the road, depending on where your placements are. But there's definitely going to be a shakeup. There needs to be a shakeup. Gabriel, Archangel Gabriel's asteroid Gabriel, and Ceres are together in Gemini in the sign of Balance, and they're in a harmonious trine with Saturn, Vesta, and the asteroid Union. So most likely, things that come to light, incoming messages, will probably be related to someone that you're in partnership with. Again, depends on your chart. Could be something to do with work that comes to light for you. But really important that we are saying encouraging words to ourselves. Vesta, Union, and Saturn all together there. Remember, in Uranus's sign says that what is initiated now, where the seeds are planted, they're going to come back, and it's going to be benefits that you reap over long periods of time. And it's always going to be, of course, what is best for all that is. So if you have that attitude, like to align with what's best for yourself and all that is, can't go wrong with that. But please don't waste this new moon energy. You've got a few days starting on the 30th and I like, May Day is always nice. When I was a kid, my mom used to take me out, and we would leave baskets on people's front porch with different little goodies in them and ring the doorbell and run away and watch their reaction when they got their basket on May Day. So that's a nice energy, to do a little celebration honoring Mother Earth, honoring your physical body. Of course, Venus and Taurus always relate to physical body as well, and Ceres does too. So good time to, I don't like, maybe change eating habits or add something different, maybe take something away. Also, the Sabian symbol is speaking to a garden. That's our gut. So maybe it's a good time to do a cleanse. But starting something, you want to say, is it worth my time? Is that person worth my attention, my effort, my energy? Resources are energy as well. So what's the payoff? Is it worth it to invest in this? And then, yeah, we've got, so, this is going to be going on, for, like I said, about, I would say like 6 weeks. Whenever Mercury is playing around during an eclipse season, it's going to carry that energy forward. And then we've got the full moon that's also called the blood moon in Scorpio, the 15th, 16th, depending on where you are in the world. So anyone who is interested in joining our course, the Metatron, the Expression of God course, you can contact me by email. I can, catch you up with what you've missed. And yeah, oh, the little mushrooms. I bumped one of them and they're both moving now. So yeah, everybody, great being with all of you. Make sure, when we have all of this, Pisces, it really is important to take time to rest. Our physical bodies need the rest. Especially we've just had so many geomagnetic storms coming in. And he's saying, like, countering like the feelings of fatigue as our body is processing these new incoming energies. But always eclipse season is intense, but you couple it with the south node, because the eclipses always take place in the signs where the nodes are. The ruler of that south node being at the end of Capricorn and stationary. Super, I know I say the word intense all the time, but it's true. It's super intense. So anyway, you guys, sending you so much love. I hope this was helpful for all of you. Be careful with privacy and ownership. There are, he's saying the trickster is afoot. People looking to gain credit from your work. So be careful with boundaries and be careful who you're sharing with right now. Be very careful. If you get that little clue that someone isn't trustworthy, believe it. And just kind of observe and watch out for it. He's just bringing that up. I don't know who that's for, but yeah. Calling out people who are out of integrity, who are taking, in order to, I don't know, be popular in the illusion, I guess. It's important, to stand up for yourself and say, no, I'm not going to put up with that. And that goes for work, relationships, you know the deal, guys. Anyway, take care, everyone. Sending you so much love. Bye-bye.